these videos have been released with threats of direct attacks in the United States. And as long as things are happening away from your house, people have a feeling this does not affect us. As soon as it comes close to your back door, you start addressing this as my issue. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because the issue of international terrorism cannot be fought by one country. It cannot be fought in one region. The world is a global open community today, that if a national or international or global threat is not addressed in coordination with different states, with different countries, even countries who are not necessarily on the same line in many aspects, but they should be on the same line, that this we have to all combat it. Now, how do we combat it? This is a different issue, and this is where we need to sit down and talk. Some people would like to intervene militarily in Libya. Some people are addressing now a clear military intervention in Syria. Some people are against it. These are details that need to be addressed according to every nation, according to every military philosophy of a nation. But at the end of the day, if international terrorism is not fought globally, then it will not be conquered. This is a simple fact that I think the global community should be coming to terms with and should be starting to learn. Because in the last 20 years, it has always been one party who's affected, the other party neglects the issue. As soon as the issue starts to affect him, it becomes the most important. I think there are times in our recent history as Egypt where we did not address terrorism, only we addressed it as a political tool for the past and the past regime to say, well, today it's a real threat in Egypt. Today the bombs are really exploding in Egypt. Today our officers are really dying in Egypt. And this has become an issue that we cannot say it doesn't affect us anymore. It's the same thing for the United States. Until 9/11 happened 10 years ago, or I'm sorry, 12 or 13 years ago, terrorism was for the American public and for American politics a faraway issue. A theory. Until it became real. And now I do not know how directed all these, again, the last few days on CNN, on CBC, on all news stations, the only talk, ISIS, this video message that was released by ISIS.
Actually, the United States and its partners began today strikes on Syria.
Yes.
To kill or to combat militants from Daesh.
Yes.
So do you think this will help to put an end to those terrorists?
My personal belief is that the end of Daesh, or before that the end of Al-Qaeda, or the end of whatever terrorist groups, would be in fighting the thought. Because as long as you are just doing the fight on a military level, you will always have new recruits. New recruits are people who are being affected by extremist, dogmatic speech, ideology, and extremist religious ideology. And as long as and now I single out the United States, and I do not want to even go into the theories of how some countries, the United States, may be involved in even making some extremist groups grow to achieve their goals. Now I would like to address us. I say, let's look in the mirror. If we as Muslim nations, if we as Muslim community do not address the issue of extremism in our religion, then it is our fault. And it is our doing that we are letting this thought grow. And if we manage to beat Al-Qaeda and we manage to beat Daesh, tomorrow there will be a new entity. So as long as we keep fighting this fight on the military grounds and do not take it on, you and me, as a fight for our religion, for how we view our religion, to be able to discuss it, then this fight is ongoing. And this is not the fight of the United States, and this is not the fight of Europe. Of course, in strategic terms, on military terms, there are conspiracies.
But actually,
the real fight is here.
Many terrorists from Daesh came from Western countries.
Came from Western
countries.
That's why
it's their fight as well.
Absolutely, but that's why I say you cannot kill such an entity. Okay, you can kill its people, but the thought is everywhere. So if the global Islamic community is not willing to stand up today, when we speak, we say 95% of Muslims all over the world are peaceful, freedom-loving, good people that follow the law, they abide, and this is the truth. So why let 5% kidnap the religion and talk on behalf of it? So maybe we have gone out of the subject today of what President Sisi is doing, but I believe this should be also in our list of priorities, to know that it is our personal responsibility in our community to fight Daesh, even if I don't have a gun in my hand. And this is also a fact. And I believe all this fits in the scope of what President Sisi will be saying, actually. I do not have detailed information about what his speech will be about the day after tomorrow on Thursday in front of the National Assembly. But I think he will be addressing the threat of extremism for the global community. And I think I will be very keen on watching. I would like to hear what he has to say. And I believe the message has to be a positive message. It has to be a message also with a lot of self-assessment.
Yes.
If we stay detached, if we keep saying it has nothing to do with us, somebody else, conspiracy, they're against us, no credibility. If we start to taking responsibility, let's work together, this is how we will gain support for our cause, all of us, as human beings on this globe.
But sir, many countries, including Egypt, want to seize the opportunity that this is, as you mentioned, this is a global issue. This has to be a global fight, and they want to seize the opportunity that this is a meeting under the umbrella of the United Nations, where the United Nations is gathering all the countries from around the world. So perhaps many countries, including Egypt, want to seize the opportunity, and they are looking forward to a resolution by the UN Security Council or by the United Nations in this regard, in combating terrorism. What do you think?
You know that there is a general question that can be addressed. How effective are UN resolutions? I know of UN resolutions.
How effective is the UN?
I studied international relations myself, and this is my field of expertise. And I'm telling you, sometimes in some cases the international media or the global media or even the national media in the United States can be more powerful than any UN resolution. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because actually the momentum that is going on today, that's what needs to be addressed on the ground. And again, of course, to seize the opportunity to pass a UN resolution, first of all, what kind of UN resolution, what will be the exact details of such a resolution, and how can you guarantee that such a resolution does not turn around and to be a stone in your throat? Because once you start going on the track of wanting for intervening in certain domestic affairs in countries, maybe you're opening the doors for one day to people to come in your country and do the same, because the assessment is a matter that can be played with. But again, on the political sphere, I think it's very crucial away from passing resolutions, that there is a common ground to be found for all nations. And I am one of the people who maybe people don't like to hear that, who insist that there must be talks with everybody. There must be talks with the United States. There must be talks with Turkey, even with their stance that I think is a horrible stance toward Egypt. But you have to be able to sit down and talk even with your enemies in international relations. This cannot be a game being played, I am sorry, on our national TVs that we keep swearing at them. So it's an opportunity now, these 3 days, to sit down on all tables, put the facts on the tables. We in Egypt are being fought with terrorism. We in Egypt have faults. We are not a nation of angels. Our government has made mistakes, will make mistakes again, but the fight against terrorism must be detached from all this and must be put down on the table as a global threat that the whole world has to address. That's how I see it.
Okay, Mr. Mohammed Huneima, international law expert, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. And this brings us to the end of this edition of The Breakfast Show. Thank you very much, Shireen.
Okay, see you tomorrow in new edition and in new crew.
Bye-bye.
Bye.